Hey everyone, welcome back to the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. Today we're preparing brisket for Easter dinner. Stick around. So once a year we get half a beef cut. Mrs. Black Hills and Eastern Railroad has a classmate that raises beef here locally, actually like 3/4 of a mile away from us. And so we have a relationship with him, and it's kind of a farm to table type deal. We know the people that cut the or run the locker plant. Michael and Dean, Sandy, and John are really doing a fine job down at Renner Corner Locker. They cut our beef every year, and you can kind of tell them if you've never had one cut before, they walk you through the process. John does a really good job of asking the right questions. What cuts do you want? Do you like leftovers? How big is your family? And the sizes of the steaks, all that type of thing. Works out great for us. In any case, we're preparing Easter brisket. I'm unwrapping it here and rubbing it. I've got a recipe for my brisket rub that I've been using for a couple of years now. It works out really well. Buy me a beer and I'll be glad to furnish it for you. So we're here unwrapping the brisket and coating rubbing applying the rub really liberally. Better to put more on, and then actually what we're going to do. This is recorded on Good Friday. I'm rubbing it just before noon on Good Friday, and we're going to wrap it tightly in that plastic wrap that the brisket came in, and we're going to return it to the refrigerator for 24 hours before we put it on the smoker. Most brisket procedures tell you should cut some of that fat cap off the top, and I did a little bit of that here, but I didn't find a whole lot. And usually brisket, you find the fat marbled in through it, so it's really kind of hard to take just the surface layer off. You're left with a lot of fat embedded in the meat, but that's good. That's what flavors the meat as it cooks. We're going to do a slow and low type deal here on this rub brisket, and so we expect that fat to render out and flavor the meat as it cooks down. So we have a Traeger Ironwood 885 that we smoke on. That's a pellet grill that does smoking. And I'm going to go out here and start it up and set it to 220 on the super smoke. As they say in the on the recipes, leaving the lid down. This is actually the first time we fired up the Traeger for the year. It's been a hard winter and we haven't had much appetite to grill or do anything outside cooking wise, but that'll change. We expect to use this a lot over the summer. There'll probably be a few times when you see the Traeger in different things that we do. We basically use it as an outdoor oven during the summertime to keep the heat out of the house. Okay, so we're putting on some additional rub. The moment of truth is almost here. We've got the Traeger preheating on super smoke at 220. It's what is it? About 1:30 in the afternoon, the day before the festivities are to begin, and we're applying just a little more rub. And now finally we're setting the brisket onto the Traeger. It's preheated at 220. And then we're inserting the meat probe in through the receptacle in the grill. We inserted the meat probe into the largest portion of the meat, and then plug the meat probe into the Traeger. The Traeger will read the temperature on the meat probe. It will, and there's actually an application that we run on our phone. I'll show you a couple of screen prints of the Traeger app here as the cook progresses. So this is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, that we put the brisket on. Let it cook all night. Sunday morning, Easter morning, we're taking the brisket off. The probe read like 195 or so, something like that, and the The brisket is probably safe, food safety wise, but we're going to put it on probably to break that a bit more of that fat down and flavor the meat a bit more. So we're going to take it off, wrap it tightly in tin foil. And then put it back on the Traeger at 220. And then in another hour or so, we'll take it off. So now at this point, we're taking the brisket off the Traeger and putting it into a cooler in the tin foil to let it rest for probably around an hour or so. And the reason why we're doing that is we want those juices to set in the meat, and then we'll go ahead and pull that meat and get it ready. So we stowed that meat in the cooler for about an hour before we took it out and unwrapped it, trimmed as much fat off as possible, and then cut it and pulled it where we could. We enjoyed the brisket with some barbecue sauce, rhubarb flavored barbecue sauce that I had traded a coworker of mine had canned last year. It was really good. The meat was nice and tender and juicy, and as you'd expect with that much fat, really rich. It was delicious. The flavoring was just about spot on. A little bit sweet, not too spicy. It was really good. Drew rave reviews from everyone in attendance. Give me some feedback on what you think. What's your favorite rub? What's your favorite method? Leave me a comment. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Ada, how was the brisket today?
It was really good.